Standard history is taught as a straight line. We begin as wandering foragers, settle into agriculture, build cities, and become subjects of a modern state. Under this model, any society that doesn't fit is a stalled culture, a relic that missed the march of progress. Zomia, a mountainous region in Southeast Asia the size of Europe, exists entirely outside this narrative. It is home to 100 million minority peoples living across a landscape that resists easy mapping. Lowland governments and textbooks historically categorize these highland communities as barbarians or uncivilized because they lack the permanent sedentary structures of the valleys. Zomia represents a massive intentional zone of refuge. For 2,000 years, people have climbed into these mountains to escape the taxes, slavery, and warfare of the state-making projects in the valleys below. Early valley states were fragile machines built on concentrated manpower. Their grand temples were made possible through captured labor and systemic slavery. These states relied on irrigated wet rice. It was the only crop dense enough to feed a state core and sedentary enough to control. Rice is uniquely legible to a tax collector. It grows above ground, ripens all at once, and is easy to store. An invading army can simply wait for the harvest and confiscate the entire surplus in a single raid. Geography sets a hard limit on this power. In flat valleys, a ruler's reach is wide, but that authority fractures the moment it hits steep, high-altitude terrain. Populations seeking freedom moved upward, using the physical difficulty of the mountains as a shield against state appropriation. This migration created a shatter zone, a vast catchment area for refugees that remained outside the reach of any single government. The traits often labeled as backwardness actually serve as sophisticated survival technologies. Slash-and-burn agriculture requires a community to be mobile. By clearing temporary patches of forest, highlanders remain moving targets, leaving no permanent villages to capture. They prioritize root crops like cassava. Unlike rice, these stay hidden underground. If a raiding party arrives, the people flee, and the food remains safely buried where soldiers can't find it. Highland ethnic identities are flexible and shifting. People in the hills frequently change their language, dress, and tribal affiliations to adapt to changing political pressures. This flexibility prevents the formation of rigid hierarchies, making it impossible for a central leader to consolidate power from within. Zomian history also suggests a strategic abandonment of written language. Without writing, there is no paper trail. There are no ledgers, no land deeds, or census records that a state can use to organize taxation or forced labor. Every aspect of Highland life, from their choice of crops to their oral traditions, functions to ensure these populations remain completely ungovernable. The line between the civilized valley and the primitive mountain was a political border. It marked the exact point where state power ended. That era of choice and evasion is now closing. Modern technologies have erased the friction of terrain. Helicopters and digital communications bypass the physical barriers that once protected these refugees. The last enclosure is well underway. Nation-states are cutting through the jungle to claim timber, minerals, and the potential for hydroelectric power. Resistance continues, but the geographic shields that protected Zomia for millennia have been permanently breached. Highland societies are the successful protagonists of a 2,000-year struggle to live outside the grasp of the state.